Yeah, I'm Steve Pollock. Welcome to Legacy in a Glass podcast. Got a real special guest here today. I mean, I've known Dave DeSimone for many, many years. It's amazing. You know, I worked for the PLCB for probably 32 years, and Dave was, and still is, in my opinion, probably one of the foremost respected wine writers in Pennsylvania. I mean, when it came to the chairman program, he rates his wines. He's very fair, and I just liked his whole personality, and I've always followed him. I mean, he's been in the restaurant business. He's a freelance wine writer. I mean, he does tours. I mean, his resume is just long and extensive, but if ever I wanted to get somebody on one of my first podcasts, I mean, Dave DeSimone was it. So I reached out to him on LinkedIn and told him I had a new brand called Moontree, and if he'd be willing to taste it, and we'll get back to that later. But and he agreed to, so we sent him some samples. But in the meantime, I want to introduce Dave DeSimone. Dave, how are you today?
Doing great, Steve. You know, it's funny with this whole change in behavior, so to speak. It creates a lot more opportunity to drink wine, think about it. You know, and for me as a writer, it's given me an opportunity to write some good things. So it's fun for me to share stories, and I know you have a good story. So that's what it's all about: the stories and the sharing, and enjoying the wine as you go. So it's great as a writer to have wine as a topic because it's endless, the stories that you can have with wine.
Yeah, outstanding, and you know, it was important with me reaching out to you. I reached out to a number of old colleagues, and you know, you're important because you don't come with I'm not going to say like a Robert Parker, but you don't come with a set palate. I mean, you're very European styled. I get that from a lot of the blogs I read over the last couple of weeks about you, but. I thought when I sent you these wines, these would be right up your alley because these are not typical or atypical. These big fruit wines from California, a lot of alcohol. So let's get on that topic about, you know, what do you think of the industry today? Because I'll tell you something. I got out from being a buyer and now I'm a seller, and boy, is it cannibalized today in the retail market. I mean, it's really cannibalized.
Yeah, you know, there's that old adage, I think we've talked about it. The easiest thing in the wine business is to buy it. The toughest thing is to sell it.
Yeah, great point.
PLCB, and, you know, you can compete on price, you can compete on quality. And I always like wines that have a story behind them. And one of the things when, Steve, you mentioned these wines to me, I kind of like the idea of Lake County because to me, Lake County is one of those places that is kind of unique in California. You know, you have Napa, which everybody, of course, knows, and that's kind of like the big top these days. And Sonoma has developed over the years. And I love Mendocino because it's off the beaten track. And then Lake County is even less well known, and fewer visitors there than these other places. So, it's kind of fun to see that. And, you know, in general, when it comes to the wine industry, wine business, I mean, I kind of track the trends. One thing that I didn't like, as you say, as a big fan of European wines, is this use of wine as a pawn in the whole trade battle over Boeing and putting a 25% tariff on imported European wines and the threat of going to 100%. You know, that's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
It won't be good for American distributors, and I don't think it certainly wouldn't be good for small European distributors. So that's kind of alarming. But on the other hand, you see more and more good wine coming from all over the world, and it always astonishes me that some of the wines you can get at such incredible prices, considering that the producer has to buy a bottle, they have to have vineyards, they have to have employees, and here you are, you know, getting bottles of wine for $10, $15, $20, good quality. It's fun. And that's really the sweet spot for me. So the other thing on these wines, the Moontree, when I saw the price, I mean, I think that for me, that range between 15 and 25 is a great area. If you're savvy and smart, you can find some outstanding wines. And that's what I'm always trying to do, whether they're European or domestic.
Yeah, exactly. And You know, an avid master of Burgundy, there's a telltale sign. I was reading some of your blogs about Aligote and some of the lesser known grapes. That's where you need to steer. Otherwise, you just can't afford it. That's why we ended up in Lake County for two reasons. I know Clay Shannon from Shannon Ridge for about 25 years, and Lake County is that hidden gem. I mean, they don't realize the quality. They're selling some of their fruit to Napa, but nobody knows that. And you have that stigma that if it's not Napa, it's not good. But I'm going to tell you something. I think in the next couple of years, Lake County is going to become very relevant only because of the prices of Napa going so far up, you know?
You know, Napa has become a phenomenon in and of itself, and people go there for as much the mythology as they do the wine. And a place like Mendocino, a place like Lake County, I think you still have that opportunity to kind of get a taste of what authentic, as I call it, California used to be or still is in some of these places, where it's not just a big hustle. You know, sometimes I go to Napa and what's the latest hustle? Who has the biggest winery? Who has, you know, the latest kind of exclusive tasting? I just saw one of those the other day. I get pitches about that all the time to write about it. To me, that's totally uninteresting because the only thing I'm interested in is the story, quality, what's in the bottle, and the price. All the rest of it to me is BS. I mean, I could care less whether, you know, you have a big fancy winery or artwork or any of that stuff. So, you know, that's me. And there was a good book written, maybe now 5, 6, 7 years ago called A Tale of Two Valleys. Did you see that one, Steve?
I did. Excellent.
Yeah, you know, Napa versus Sonoma.
Yeah.
And some of that maybe is applicable when it comes even more so to Lake County.
I think so too. I mean, we went out there for 10 days when we, we kind of pitched Shannon Ridge to kind of, we had the concept, we had the story. The moon behind the tree is a picture I took about 2 a.m. on the back of my house. It was just beautiful that night, and that's, this is all authentic. We went out, and Clay's winemaker, Joy Morelli's, I mean, if she was in Napa, she'd be making $50, $60 bottles of wine, but she's not. She's in Lake County where there's no cell phone service. I mean, we were there for 10 days, and it's as rustic as rustic could be, which is what I wanted. And Clay is an old cowboy, big belt buckle and no nonsense, drives around his vineyards on his truck in the morning, watching him pick the fruit. And, it was just so authentic that I said, could we do something together? Being that I worked for Pennsylvania as long as I have, I figured that was an avenue. New Hampshire was an avenue. I knew them there. So, we came across with, I think, 6 wines that represent Lake County. I mean, went up into the Red Hills where Beckstoffer's putting a lot of money on properties up there, and some of their Cabernet, Dave, is stunning. I mean, you get a $20 bottle of Red Hills Cabernet, it'd be $75 in California, in Napa Valley. So we went out there. It was a beautiful trip, and we came back, and all this COVID happened, and fortunately we one of my partners spoke with the LCB, and we have this direct to consumer model. It's kind of a gateway working through Shannon Ridge, and I think direct to consumer could get some legs in the next couple months. Do you agree?
I agree, because people during this pandemic have discovered the ability to have wine shipped to them directly and how convenient it is. I mean, heck, even the PLCB is shipping directly to homes now, which is astounding, but it's about time. So why not? I mean, there's the factor of not being able to taste the wines before you buy them, but if it's a good enough story and the price is right, I think people will give it a shot. There's a little bit of a impediment when it comes to paying for shipping, but I don't think that's insurmountable. So yeah, I agree with you. Direct to consumer is good, and you're even seeing that now with European wines too. But cut out a layer of that distribution. I mean, essentially that's what you're doing, I think, by doing that.
Yeah, and I'm hoping. I mean, we started with Lake County, and we'll continue with certain brands in Lake County. But I want this to be an evolving. I want this to be a brand unlike private labels. I want people to see Moon Tree and say, "I know the people behind it. I know the story. The wine's always good, and know it. Where I'm having a party, I'm going to order Moon Tree. That's what we're trying to develop. It to be its own standalone brand. You know."
Right. The go-to.
Exactly. You have any on you? I'm going to taste the Sauvignon Blanc.
Yeah, okay. I have that one right here. Yeah, I tried it a little bit earlier. I like this one.
Well, I like the, what I did was, we got, just to give you a background, what we did was we didn't stay in California. We came back and then they sent us just shiners, and we tasted through what he had and what she blended for us into specifics of what my palate wanted for the consumer. And I think she hit it right on the mark for me here. I mean, I tasted, some of the bigger, clunky, oakier styles in California that Napa produces, and I just don't like them. This is kind of pure, 3,000 feet up, passion fruit and minerality,
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking as you said that, because the thing I like about this right away is you smell fruit. You smell a little bit of passion fruit and the kiwi, but it's not pounding you over the head either. It's definitely not too grassy, although you get a little bit of that herbaceousness.
Yes, you do. Yeah, you get a little pineapple. I love the kiwi note, but it's got enough sweetness, but then it puckers down in here where the acid grips it where you want another sip. You know what I mean?
It does indeed. It has good freshness, but it doesn't have the kind of searing acidity that you might get in some of the Sancerres or, even some of those New Zealand wines, But yeah, this is nice. I like it. It's easy to drink. I think it would good with, grilled, any kind of grilled fish like sea bass or tuna, with a little bit of chopped up mango and red peppers.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Olive oil, some black sea salt. Bam.
We'll have to do this again. You get one of your chefs on, and we'll do a three round here.
That's what it's all about. You can't just drink wine alone. You can, but I mean, I like it with the food.
Yeah, me too. We do. It's a lifestyle for me. We have a bottle every night for dinner. All right, Dave. Anything else we got?
Well, the other one I mentioned to you real quick is that red wine.
Yeah, good. I was hoping you had another one.
Yeah, that I can't recall right now what the blend is. I mean, there has to be some Zinfandel in this, correct?
There's Zin Petit Syrah. There's I believe a little bit of Cab Franc, Cabernet. There's like 7 grapes in this blend, but I'm going to tell you what's nice about this. I mean, there's a lot of red blends all over the planet. We know that. They range from $14 to $50. But what I liked about this, it gives you a lot more complexity. This just isn't red wine juice. This gives you some leathery notes, and there's some kind of coffee bean going on and a little nutmeg. I really like this.
Yeah, that's a winner. I mean, it reminds me a little bit like of a really good, my reference again being kind of the French and Italian, but like a Côte de Rhône.
Yeah, me too.
A good Côte de Rhône is just easy to drink in the bottle, just boom, before you know it, it's gone. And that's very, very drinkable. I like that one a lot. I mean, that one I'd recommend in a minute.
Yeah, we've had them. We had that for a barbecue last week, and I just slightly chilled the bottle. I mean, it was warm out, I'm not drinking, and it didn't ruin it. It's that fruit driven where it doesn't dry it out.
I think that you're on the right track. I'm so happy to see you. It's sad when you left the PLCB, but on the other hand. You're right back into your own thing, so that's always good to see. And I'm looking forward to see where this goes beyond Lake County, maybe. Me too.
I'd like to do. I've already been getting some hits on. Some of my European guys want to do some things, but what I did, I went with 3,000 cases on this whole line. I don't want stuff laying around, and then you become a brand that starts getting discounted in the program I used to run. I'm trying to keep this at a normal FOB retail.
Yeah, because again, it's easy to buy it. It's tough to sell it.
You got that right, buddy. I hope we stay in touch, and maybe I can come out to Pittsburgh when everything settles down, and
Please do.
Or have you back on with some of your recommendations.
Fantastic.
Dave, thanks. Be safe. Love you, buddy. And everybody, thanks for listening. Be sure to check us out, www.legacyinaglass.com. Be well.